And welcome to another episode of the Kids Ministry Collective podcast. My name's Tom Bump, and I'm your host. Thanks for joining me, my friends. I hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about what matters. What matters to you? What matters to your team? What matters to your ministry? I want to think about that as leaders. What matters? Before we do that, let me dive in and talk to you real quickly about our podcast episode sponsor, and that is KidmanPlus.net. KidmanPlus.net is a brand new made for you membership community, and it really is the community that you need and that needs you because it's only stronger with you. But this is a brand new, a great membership group that is designed for leaders to think like leaders, to grow like leaders, to be around other leaders. You know, John Maxwell talks about that your growth and the lid of your growth is going to be maxed by the people that you hang out with. Well, I want to invite you to come check out a group that is built with some amazing leaders in it. And they're committed to growing as much as I hope you'll be committed to growing. For only $15 a month, you can join this group where there's courses that focus around healthy teams, healthy leaders, and healthy ministries. There's also live meetups. There's access to coaching. There's so much more that's being built. It's not rehashed materials. It's not, well, we had this in stock or on our storefront, so we're throwing it in. This is a brand new community that's built for you. It was one of the first of its kind. I think it's totally unique, and I would invite you to check it out, kidmanplus.net. If you email me at tom@tombump.com, I'll send you a special link that will get you a special free trial offer to come check it out for yourself. $15 a month, though, you can cancel at any time if you don't find it valuable to you. All right, let's dive into what matters most. So let me ask you, what does matter to you as a leader? If I were to ask you, if we were to sit across from each other, having some coffee or tea or whatever you drink, and I were to ask you, what matters to you? What matters to you as far as your leadership? What matters to you when it comes to leading your teams? What matters to you when it comes to the ministry that you do? I just wonder what matters. And I started thinking about this. And I think maybe it's coming from, as I record this, uh, we have seen some devastating, life altering, life ending storms come across the South, hit Florida, but where it seems to have caused the most damage and the most loss of life is in North Carolina. And my heart truly goes out to those folks. And it's at times like these that it makes you think, what really matters? What matters the most? And to me, it's a non negotiable. I will die on this hill, take a bullet to the head. What matters most is the gospel, helping people understand that they were created in the image of God on purpose for a purpose. There is no greater thing than that we can do as ministry leaders than to present everyone we come in contact with, everyone that comes through our doors, everyone around where our church building is at needs to know that they matter, that the gospel matters to them and they matter to the gospel. So, leader, do you clearly share the gospel every week? I've seen this trend and I truly don't understand why we do this where it's once every 3 or 4 weeks. I cannot and I will not. Now, this is my own personal conviction. If you don't share it, that's fine. I'd love to have that conversation of why you don't. Because I truly believe that if you're called to ministry, you are called to share the gospel at every opportunity that you can get. It may only be that you're planting seeds. It may be that you're watering or tilling the soil or fertilizing it. You may not get to actually harvest it, but it matters that you share the gospel of Jesus Christ with everyone you meet clearly, effectively, and invite them into a relationship with Jesus, because you can't guarantee they're going to come back the next week. What happened with these storms proved it. These people thought it was just going to be a bad weather event, and it turned out whole communities are gone now. It will be years before some of these places are rebuilt, if they're rebuilt. It matters. And it ought to shake us to our core that these things happened and lives were lost and there were people that didn't know Jesus there. Does your team know that it matters? Have you trained them in clearly sharing the gospel? Do they know how to lead a child to Christ? Are they ready? If a child were to say, I'm ready, I want to know Jesus as my Savior, does your team know how to do that? If they don't, I highly recommend you find someone who can train them. If you can't do it, then find someone who can. If you need help, let me know. Email me at tom@tombump.com. I spent the first many years of my ministry life going around to churches, training them how to help them share the gospel in their Bible lessons, how to share it during their small group times, what questions to ask, how to know when a child is ready. I would be more than happy to help you. I can come in person, I can do it virtually, or I can point you into the direction of someone who's close by to you that can help you if you don't know how to do it yourself. But you need to know that that matters. To me, that is the number one thing. If you don't get anything else out of this podcast episode, it's where are we doing? What are we doing on a consistent basis to present the gospel? How is it oozing through everything we do? People ought to feel and know there's a life-giving message in everything you do. Okay. Second thing that I think matters is that everyone knows someone. You want to go to a place where everybody knows your name, as the famous song goes. But it's true. You want to be known. And not just a name, but what's behind the name. What's that story behind the name? Because it matters. You want to build space into your Sundays, into your weekends, into your services to get to know those kids. And I know it's hard to get to know the families, so that's going to take some extra away from Sunday times, but it's possible to create times, and it's possible to create teams of people who can go out and know people for you on your behalf and help you know them. I want to challenge you. What is something that you can do this week to get to know one or two families? Get to know one or two kids that attend your ministry. The larger you are, the more challenging it gets, but that just means you have to have more teams to do that. Find people that can be faithfully contacting a few. Make your large ministry smaller by having small group teams that's what their focus is. But get to know their name and get to know their heart. What makes them tick? What do they love? Sometimes that's more important than just reading the Bible story. It's saying, hey, Johnny, how would you use this in your week? Getting to know how they would use a lesson is a powerful tool. But make it a place, make your ministry a place where somebody knows their name and about them and their story. Number 3, it matters that you focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. It matters that we focus on what we can do, not on what we can't do. I continue to see, and I've said this on the podcast before, a lot of leaders struggling and getting so discouraged about the lack of volunteers. Listen, if you don't have enough volunteers to run the current structure you're running, change the structure. It may only take a small season of you changing the structure and reformatting what you do, that all of a sudden it gives you that margin to go out and build the team and the structure that you really want to run. That matters. But what also matters is that your heart doesn't get so discouraged and so cynical and so embittered that you become an obstacle for building the team and the structure that you want to build. My friends, it's easy. I know, because I've fallen into this. Okay. I've been there where I've gotten very cynical towards people. Nobody wants to serve, and I'm the only one that cares, and nobody wants to do this anymore. And they say they value it, but they don't want to help. They don't want to make time. I don't understand. Well, we can't change people overnight, but what we can do is change ourselves. We can control our hearts. We can focus on us, and it matters that we do this. It matters to check your attitude. It matters to let go of cynicism and criticism and frustration. It matters to let go of these things. Begin to ask why. So why don't people want to serve in your ministry? What is it? Take a look at what you put out on social media. Take a look at the way you talk to people and what your team talks to others about. It matters. Because some people get this picture of children's ministry that it's a certain way. You need to show them what it really is, because it matters. Focus on what you can do. You can show people this is what our children's ministry is. This is what you do. You don't have to put on pink tutus and throw glitter in the air. Because trust me, ladies, men don't want to do that. It may be fun to you, but they don't want to do that. So what matters to a man wanting to serve in children's ministry? Because often they're shamed away from children's ministry. So what matters to them? What can you do to bring them in to make them feel comfortable in that space? What about grandparents feeling like their time is up? And yes, again, I know what many of you are thinking. Well, they're going to tell me I've already served my time. But you know what? There's people out there that haven't. And there's people out there that the reason why they say that is because they have been turned away many times. Or they've been shamed out of being in ministry because they're older and they can't do all the dance moves. And they can't jump around and play gaga ball. You need to create space of what you can do. And what you can do is go out and let those people know that they can sit in a chair and they can sing and they can clap their hands and they can pray with kids and they can listen to verses and they can share Jesus. They can be used. They can help prep, cut out stuff. They can help decorate. Man, they can come up with some great ideas. They can be an extra person in a room, even if it's only to sit and observe. That's what they can do. So stop looking at what they can't do, because it matters. It matters. So the gospel matters. Knowing names and hearts matter. Focusing on what we can do and asking why is this way matters. One more thing. Why it matters is you matter to the ministry. And if you're wearing yourself out, if you're making yourself frustrated, if you have no margin that you can't do mission, if you're spending more time doing the things that aren't in your gifting rather than that are in your gifting, guess what? You will wear out, burn out, tap out, quit. It will happen. I see it all the time. If you find yourself in those places, please know, hear my voice. If you're watching on YouTube, look into my eyes and hear me say, I am here for you. Restoringleaders.org is a ministry that serves leaders going through hard seasons. When you find yourself spiritually dry, when you find yourself where discouragement is winning, when you find yourself going, is it matter anymore? Does it matter? Do I matter? Please reach out. You can schedule a call. I charge nothing for that ministry. I'm just here to help leaders stay in the game. Burnout is not a marketing tool for me. Anyone who tells you if you do their system, it's going to prevent burnout, walk away from it. I'm sorry, it disgusts me. I don't market burnout and wear out. I don't wear it as a badge of honor. It's not. What matters is that you keep yourself spiritually healthy and in the game because children need you. You are uniquely wired and called to be you, the best you can be for the glory and honor of the King who wants to use your story for his glory. And what matters is you stay in the ministry and you keep focusing and grinding because, again, it's not easy and it won't be easy, especially as the days grow more evil. It's going to be harder to do what we do. It's going to be harder to find people to serve. And yes, you may be finding yourself alone at times, but don't give up. What you need to do is duplicate yourself. Why does this matter? Why should you find someone else, at least one other person? And don't tell me you can't find someone else. Tell me how you can, because I can tell you how you can. And if you need help, please reach out. I'll help you. Because listen, duplicating yourself matters. Why? Because if you duplicate your why to someone else and help them find their why, that's two more for the kingdom that are going to multiply the kingdom. You have to duplicate yourself and your heart and your why, and your end goals need to be something that can be duplicated so that others can grab the vision and run with it. Sometimes the reason why we don't have help is because we're in the way of it, because we think we're the only ones that can do it. And because we don't want to release control of it, people won't volunteer. They won't step up because they look at you as you've got it all together. Even when inside you're just blowing up and you're ready to quit every Monday morning. Duplicate yourself. Help them to see a why. Help them to see end goals. Help them to know how to clearly share the gospel. Train them up to do everything that you can do and let them do it better, because sometimes they have giftings that you don't. In fact, you should be duplicating yourself into people who are different than you because they have different ways to see things and perspectives to see things. You also need to show your people that it matters so much that you can hit the pause button and you can step away so that you can do like Jesus did and step away and go to the quiet places. And if you're going, oh, Tom, I just can't do that. I don't. Stop making excuses. Stop it. Jesus didn't make an excuse. He just said, look, I've got to step away and I'm doing it. And guess what? His Father kept everything spinning. The world will still spin without you. If God chooses to take you off the planet tomorrow, the world will still keep spinning. Your children's ministry will still keep going. You are not the only one that cares about these children. That's pride. That's arrogance. Humble yourself and trust God that he will raise up an army. You say, well, why hasn't he done it yet? Well, because maybe you're in the way. Maybe you're gripping too tight, my brother and sister. Why does this matter? Well, it matters because the kingdom needs to go. The enemy is rearing up. They're not hiding in the shadows anymore. They're standing out very boldly. Just watch any commercial on TV. Watch what some politicians endorse. Watch what shows are advocating for. Watch what's on the media and the movies. It's not evil, is not hiding. It's out there. So where's the church? This is why it matters to me. This is why I'm kind of fired up a little bit this morning. My heart hurts for those people that have lost everything, and they're realizing what matters most is just the basics. Let's lose our need for the flash and the glitz and the glamour, and let's just get to the basics of what really matters, because every day matters. Keep what matters the most important thing, the main thing, the main thing. My friends, I love you, and I'm cheering you on. And if there's anything I can do to serve you, I am here for you. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a marketeer. I'm probably the worst business person in the world. I'm doing everything I can to just keep the Kid Ministry Collective and Restoring Leaders upright so that I can serve more leaders. Because God has called me to be a pastor to pastors and a shepherd of shepherds. So, how can I serve you? How can you serve someone else? Why? Because it matters. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Kids Ministry Collective podcast. And again, if you need anything, reach out, Tom at tombump.com. Go to kidsministrycollective.com, kidminplus.net, restoringleaders.org. All those links will be in the show notes if you want to look there, wherever you're listening to this podcast, or check out the YouTube channel. They'll all be in the show notes on the Kid Ministry Collective YouTube channel. Stay tuned for another episode real soon.